Hello, I'm Jessica Amir for the Finance News Network. Joining me over the phone now from Lithium Explorer Latin Resources is Managing Director Chris Gale. Chris, welcome back to the Finance News Network.
Thanks, Jessica.
So, Chris, you've just inked a deal to buy a lithium project which paves the way to purchase a major lithium mine in Argentina. Can you tell us what's involved?
Yes, Jessica, we have been looking at this project for a number of months now. Our boys went out to the field, had a look at it, came back to me, and they basically, my senior geologist, my exploration manager, said this is the best lithium project you've seen in Argentina. That's a hard rock project, not a bronze, but hard rock. So we've been negotiating with the owner now for the last 2 or 3 months. The nice thing is about this project that it was operating through the 60s through to the 80s for spodumene. It's large. It looks excellent from a perspective of scaling up that project. So we're very, very happy that we've purchased or about to purchase this mine. It's a binding term sheet we've signed, which will turn into a sale agreement, which we're drafting right now.
And what about the terms, Chris? What are they?
The terms are we basically scale this up. So over a period of 6 to 12 months, we'll pay the owner some quarterly fees. They amount to about $260,000. But we don't pay anything significantly until we get a JORC resource. So the minimum JORC we must have on this project is 1 million tonnes. Hopefully it'll be more than that, but he will get $2 million on confirmation of 1 million tonne JORC resource, and that relates to lithium, of course.
Thanks, Chris. Now to your projects in San Luis. Can you tell us about the San Luis lithium concessions?
Yeah, so with this Geminis project, we now control around 30,000 hectares in the province of St. Louis. St. Louis is a very progressive, well-structured state or province. It has excellent infrastructure, roads, rail, etc. We control now what we think is one of the largest land holdings in Argentina in hard rock. We're very focused on getting our permitting completed. The whole concept of Latin Resources is to work around the strategy of finding the best projects to take into a JORC position, and then obviously then start producing. So we think we've got certainly a good group of projects we can get our teeth into, create and produce a JORC, and then move into production very quickly.
So, Chris, what does that mean for the company?
Well, that means that, and on top of that, as we mentioned in our previous announcement put out last week, is that St. Louis also is a very big quartz and feldspar producer. It's been operating for about 10, 20, probably 30 years now, 3 decades. And what we've found is a number of processing plants scattered in the direct vicinity of our projects. We're talking to a number of owners about potentially utilising their infrastructure to put in an additional spodumene circuit that will allow us to produce a spodumene concentrate. So it eliminates having to go through environmental permitting, mine permitting, which in some cases can take up to a couple of years. We've actually spoken with the St. Louis Mines Department. They have sort of clarified that if we wanted to add an additional circuit, if it didn't use any serious chemicals, that they could get that approved very, very quickly. So that's a big bonus for us. We're in negotiations with a couple of those plant operators, running in parallel with drilling for our JORC resource. We've yet to pick which project we'll start on in St. Louis for our JORC resource. Our guys are out in the field defining drill targets right now. Our permitting should be finished over the coming weeks. And once we have that all collated, completed, we'll start drilling. And in the meantime, hopefully, we've appointed a group called Primero, engineering group out of Perth, to start on our flow sheets to potentially build additional circuit in one of those plants that we identify we want to move forward with.
Sounds very exciting indeed. And Chris, you're selling your copper assets. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, Jessica, we recently announced with the market that we've appointed a group out of Canada called All Capital. All Capital approached us about our copper assets in Peru. We have 2 sets of copper projects there. We have 3, Ilo East, Ilo North and Ilo Sur, or Ilo South. First Quantum Minerals are our joint venture partners in Illo South, so we'll retain that project. So we've put up our Illo East and Illo North projects to Ore Capital to go to, and it looks like a couple of Canadian groups are very interested in talking with us about our projects there. They're very bullish on copper over the next few years. So what we're trying to do is realise some more value. I don't believe the market's valued anything on our copper projects. So if we can realise some additional value by perhaps potentially selling to another Toronto or a Vancouver-based company, we think that we could add some value into that resources moving forward. They would then move forward and develop those projects for us. We retain hopefully something of those projects, depending on what the deal strikes out to be. But yeah, that's another way of potentially building some value into latent resources.
Last question now, Chris, before we let you go. If everything goes to plan over the next 12 months, what does that mean for Latin Resources?
Well, as we've publicly announced, our primary focus is to get a JORC resource, to add value into our JORC resources. 60-odd lithium companies listed on the Australian Stock Exchange. Around 9 have a JORC resource. So if we can get into that category, we think our value will be lifted significantly. As we announced last week now with the Geminis Mine, that will help propel us into a different level, hopefully adding to our value. On top of that, if we can negotiate some terms with a plant operator or plant owner to actually add into a spodumene circuit, we can certainly, I think, cut very quickly into reduction mode for the company once we define that JORC resource with the right grade, with the right plant. We think we can be in production, I wouldn't call it 12 months, but very, very quickly.
Well, Chris Gale, thanks so much for the update.
Thanks, Jessica.